Yo,
Hey, how you doing?
sorry about that.
Not at all.
What's going on with you?
How's your week been?
It's been good. The weather's been like dramatically different since like 2 weeks ago. It's like freezing here already, it's pretty soon for that. But I guess we're going right from summer to like pretty much winter, you know?
We had that for a week or so as well.
Yeah, but your guy's cold is like 70.
Yeah, it's very nice. Not when it's hot.
Here's been pretty like in the 50s, even the 40s actually some nights. So it's been pretty crazy. But other than that, everything's good so far, I guess, right?
I was just watching your review of the Spain competition.
Yeah, that was an interesting show. I don't know if you watched it or all, like the actual show or saw the footage or photos or anything, but there's I don't know, European shows I never really was a big fan of anyway, with the judging over there. Because over there it's pretty fucking corrupt, to be honest with you. But James, I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but James looked pretty good, but he's got a lot of holes, as far as like going to the Olympia stage, but he could definitely dominate those shows, I think,
I felt like you were concerned about, you were really obsessed about the fact that they kept moving people around in the front, in the center, and it wasn't matching up. It wasn't making sense.
I didn't like that because like they're supposed to have some type of formality to like how they judge. And that's like one of the biggest issues with the fucking IFBB is that, like even like just simple as the lighting goes and the background goes of every show, like the photos never are consistent. As far as like, the background, they always have like these weird, all these colors and shit. Like, how about just like a black curtain, dude? So like the photos actually like pop, with the athletes. And then you can actually go, hey, let me look at my stage photos from the show whenever and see consistency, and then on top of it, the lighting was like, it was like atrocious. Like they had in an auditorium. So they had all the house lighting on, plus these crazy floodlights that were probably like halogen bulbs or whatever. So it just washed everybody out and no one looked like they had any detail. But I don't know. It's just, I hate how they have these shows. Like if you saw the place they had it in, like what it looked like, yeah, it was a nice place, but it's like literally in the middle of a hall, like just like a stage popped up with some seats, and it's just like, it's so ghetto to me. It's very ghetto.
No, but you bring up a good point. Why isn't it standardized a little bit, like the staging at least?
Yeah, and like, how about stage height too? Like for the judges, that perception's going to get all thrown off. And then the only thing they really care about is stand on the line. Like, what the fuck does that matter at this point when nothing is consistent? And then like, they should have. There's usually like 9 to 12 judges, right? Because they toss the high and the low score. I think there was only like maybe 6 judges yesterday or 7.
Wow.
So that really throws out the scores way off. And then on top of it, they don't judge like left to right. They just judge what's in front of them. So like the judging, let's say you're all the way to the left, I'm all the way to the right. How the fuck are you supposed to look to the guy all the way to the right of the stage or the left of stage, vice versa? It just, there's got to be better consistency if they want to like really like step this judging up, because it's not fair. I don't think it's fair by any means. If you just look at it just from those little standard things, it's, and then the timing of who's on stage and then who gets actually good looks and who gets compared to who. Like there was 19 guys in that show. No one past the first top 6 was even looked at for more than a minute. Like, there was a lot of good guys in that show that aren't even like big names, from like Italy and Spain. They had some pretty serious muscle on them and they didn't even get a look,
Did you notice that last Olympia, there was a guy who was trained by Chris Aceto who competed recently in Florida I don't think it was maybe it was the New York Pro, and he didn't do too well. He's an African-American guy. He's a bit skinnier, very small waist, wide shoulders.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know you're talking about him. I don't remember his name though, but I know this story.
No, you know what I'm talking about? He's in the top 7.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So he seems similar to the Brazilian guy here, Rafael, because he's
Rafael.
not that big, but he has like good, like body by himself. He's really good.
Yeah. Rafael See, I'm not claiming he does filters. He has his physique is obviously pretty much perfection, but to me, he looks so much bigger online. Like, I mean, look, he's had like a year off, I think, almost to put muscle on. He almost came back the same size. I mean, pretty much. I don't know if you follow him or not, but he didn't look any bigger than he did last year.
I don't, but what I noticed was that him and the guy that I just mentioned, who Chris Aceto trains, who I forgot his name, who he's not.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, but both of those guys, they look like what Classic is supposed to look like.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
the problem is the weight requirement in Classic keeps them out as well.
Yeah. Oh, Pat, you're talking about.
Yeah, Patrick Moore, exactly.
Yeah.
Both
Pat.
of them, they look good by themselves.
Raphael would fucking smoke Chris Bumstead. Holy fuck, he would smoke him all day long. I mean, nothing against Chris. He's got a perfect physique too, but Raphael is just like, I mean, there's nothing to even say, oh, he needs this or that. Like in open bodybuilding, yes, it's just size when it comes down to anything. But I mean, that guy's got every body part like chiseled out. I mean, to me, he's perfection. I mean, when you look at a male's body, but he can't weigh anything over 230, 235. There's no way that guy's heavier than that because he's not even that tall.
He's skinny. He's skinny and he's small. Yeah, he seems small.
He doesn't have like muscle hanging on him or anything, like an open bodybuilder should.
Now, Regan, what I noticed when I was looking at, so I was watching this mainly to talk about it with you. I don't usually watch this stuff, but I was like, I got to stay up to date because we talk every week, So I was looking at like Regan's body. I know Regan wasn't, dry enough and didn't come in very sharp, but
his conditioning was not good.
But his structure is unbelievable compared to the rest. His legs like outmass them by far, way taller, way bigger.
The only thing I'm starting to notice on him is his arms are not growing or his chest is not growing for some reason. I don't know if it's a training technique or if it's a genetic thing because obviously he's still very young too, right? So maybe they'll fill out in time, but it seems like the other body parts seem to be accelerating. Like his legs seem like they're accelerating very well. His back seems like it's accelerating very well. Shoulders are shoulders, but the arms and chest, they're not like open bodybuilder oomph to them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's something off about them to me that throws off his symmetry of his body. I don't know. They're just like, because he's got a big frame too. He's not a small guy. So like, I feel like arms and chest, you expect to be like, I don't know.
6'2"? He's 6'1" or 6'2"?
I don't think he's taller than 6 foot. Maybe he's really? maybe he's 6'1", maybe. But like he's definitely not any shorter than 6 foot. You know what I mean? So I don't know. His chest for me is just such a lagging body part on him. Like I want to see like his side chest to me is just like he's got great lower body, but then his arms and his chest are kind of like, if you look at this
that I was thinking about, it was his legs. Yeah.
His legs are phenomenal. I think his legs are really good.
So Regan's basically been like sort of wasting time in his career because he went to Kuwait. He didn't change much since then. He went to Kuwait. He went into the classic. He didn't do well. He lost
that classic thing really fucked him up, I think.
Yeah, he's been wasting a lot of time. He has a lot of potential, right?
I think that those years were like critical for him to just be growing and not worrying about, classic and Kuwait and, he was so in limbo about what he wanted to do. And I feel like that really cost him some prime years that hopefully he gets back, which I think he will. I think he has the genetics to do it, but I don't know if he's holding back because he was always against like getting too big. And that was like his number one criticism. And I criticized him for it too. I was like, how are you going to be a bodybuilder in the open class and not want to, put on weight? I mean, it's just, you're not going to grow to the size you need, keeping, staying lean and like looking good all year. I don't think it's possible. I know Greg Duchette disagrees and other people disagree, but I think you have to pack it on. I mean, I don't say you have to get fat, but he's not big into like getting heavy, and he didn't look much different than he did last show, whenever that was,
That's what I was saying. Yeah, he hasn't changed.
Right? You didn't see much difference in him, right?
No.
And his conditioning was not anything to like say, oh, wow, that was impressive. So what did he bring to the table yesterday? It was pretty much a refined look that he had already, So for me, that's like annoying because I know he could probably like really push it, you know? I mean, look how fast Antoine Vaillant came back out of nowhere, and he's like pretty much ahead of Reagan, who's never stopped, which is weird, you know?
So what about this Lucas Osladil character, who I think is one of the main points of contention that you had with the, because basically you were saying in your review that it doesn't make sense that he's second because he doesn't match anyone else there. So if he was something, it wouldn't be. What do you think?
Listen, I met the guy. He's extremely nice. Like, and I feel bad even talking about him in that like light, because I know he works his ass off. I know he loves bodybuilding and he's a genuine guy, but I don't know. To me, he's not an Olympia caliber physique. I mean, he's been there before too. He's won shows that I was like, what the fuck? Like, because I've seen him in person, and it's not like I'm like bashing a guy I never seen in person or like criticizing him in that way that I never seen. Just to me, it like to be second at that show and then get an Olympia qualification over like Reagan or a Samson Duda or Mark Hector, who guys are just like, I mean, their symmetry and muscle bellies are just unbelievable, you know, like they're bodybuilders. He's got like this freaky muscular look, but yesterday he's usually like, he wins shows because he gets very conditioned. He was not even conditioned from what I can tell yesterday. He didn't look like anything spectacular. So I'm like, okay, so what did he get rewarded on yesterday? Just because he has more muscle than these guys? But that's like an argument you can kind of make on everybody then, because they're all pretty equally muscle except for James. I mean, even James in some areas lacks, you know, he's very narrow. His back isn't like tremendous, you know, but Lucas's back is tremendous. But to beat like Samson Duda, who I think is, I don't know, to me, his physique is like flawless too. He's got another great body, you know, he took fifth place.
So is it a little weird because I'm not that into bodybuilding myself that Lucas's glutes really throw me off, and I don't know how to describe it, but when I'm looking at the stage, I'm like, whoa, this is weird.
Yeah.
He poses it in a way where he sticks them out.
Yeah, which is not how you're supposed to pose either.
It's a little, look, as not a true bodybuilding fan, it really throws me off. It's like, if that was the first show I've ever watched, I wouldn't probably not watch another show.
So that's another thing I don't like. There's no standard with the poses. Like the mandatory poses, everyone's hitting different triceps. Everyone's hitting different side chest. Some people have the right leg out in the rear shots, left leg out. Like, how the fuck are you supposed to pose? Like, you know, judge that when everyone's doing different shit. Same with him. Like, he's like arching his back and sticking his ass out instead of, you're supposed to flex your glutes in, not out. Which, you know, so his abductors pop out and he does that weird, I don't know. And like, you see his most muscular? He crosses his legs. Like he crosses them and
I've seen that weird one.
Squats like a frog. Like it's, I'm just like, I'm like, what? I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like everyone else is doing like hands on the hip, you know, hand clasp, you know, crab. He's like squatting like a plie, almost like a ballerina pose. It's, I don't know. I'm just like, how the fuck are you supposed to judge this? You know, that's so weird. Everyone's doing different poses. I don't know.
Most muscular. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's annoying to me because then I'm like, as a judge, I'd be sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. Like, are you supposed to take points away from that? Or are you supposed to say, oh, that looks better? Like, they're not there to judge that. They're there to judge like who looks best in the pose. But if they're all doing different poses, how are you supposed to judge that?
The other big news this week, which I came across, is that Fuad Abiel has decided to pull out of the Chicago competition.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Did you hear you heard his video about it?
Yeah, I saw it. And, you know, he's been plagued with injuries too. I mean, I'm not sure if it's the last two shows or just the last show. I think it's the last two shows. I think he had an injury, like a hamstring and then maybe a bicep or something. I forget what it was, but like, I don't know what this is my question to you. Do you think his intention was to do the show, or you think it was just like maybe a last minute thing? He was like, hey, I'm getting in shape. Let me maybe go for it. And then was like, Like, do you think he really had health problems? Because I don't know. I don't know if I buy that or not. Not that I think he's a liar, but maybe he just didn't want to do it. I don't blame him.
Well, I think he has health problems, but I don't know if he intended to do the show or it was a marketing campaign for his supplement.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it's for that more than anything.
Maybe, but the interesting thing that I saw, and I don't know if this is because he used to dye his beard, but he stopped. I don't know if he used to dye it or not, but what I did was it went really gray, and I didn't even notice it on my own. Actually, what happened one day, I was trying to research some stuff, so I was watching one of his videos, and my wife walked by and said, "Wow, that guy really aged." Seriously, she had seen him a few months ago, and she was like, "Holy crap!"
It's a good point though, because I subconsciously thought there was something weird with his beard. I'm like, I don't remember it being like white like that. I remember it being dark.
And it stopped. Maybe that's what it was.
It could have been that, but like I don't know. It's like he gave up on it all. Then I don't know. It's weird how he just stopped that.
Well, if it was the case that he was not dyeing his beard and it just got way wider over time, then that means that he experienced a lot of DNA damage in one go. Because like everyone gets white hair at a different rate. I have a lot of white hair, but within one person, you get more white hair, the more DNA is damaged around cells that are around your hair follicle. So he experienced a lot of damage. Now, what I was saying before is that I made a comment about Fuad's, one of his videos about blood pressure about a year ago, saying basically that Fuad was not taking his blood pressure seriously enough. He was taking like supplements and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So when I did that, and then he said he's going to compete again, and I made a video with Amin before saying that it's very not a video about him, but we were just talking, and I was saying it's very concerning. If he competes, he's going to damage his kidneys in a way, and he's never going to. You can't recover at that point. Whatever damage you're doing, you're going to live with it for the rest of your life. So I assume he probably did do some damage.
Yeah.
And in particular, I was watching. He discussed it more on his podcast.
Did he say what was happening or no?
Yeah, basically, he said he would be on dialysis if he went to the show. He said if he what he said on the podcast was if he went to the show, his doctors told him that he would probably be on dialysis afterwards. So he stopped. But if that is the case, if that's true,
that's pretty fucking extreme.
Yeah, then what that means is his kidneys are actually done either way, and in 10 years, either way, he'll be on dialysis.
I was gonna say just because he stopped for 14 days doesn't make him it doesn't put him on the green light forever.
No, not at all.
No, right?
No, but it could be that his kidneys would have failed if he dehydrated completely for the competition.
What do you think is causing all that damage? Orals?
No. Just the androgen. Well, first of all, the size, then the blood pressure, then the amount of protein, but then just androgens kill kidney cells directly. Yeah. So even if you're not high blood pressure, if you just take look at Dan Duchesne. Dan Duchesne had kidney failure. He was a skinny guy. Yeah. If you take enough androgens, you'll get kidney failure eventually.
God, that's
I feel bad watching it, honestly. I really wish him the best on that.
Is it just me though? And this is not calling him out. I'm literally just asking you, did his skin color look weird to you?
Yeah, a lot of things look weird. He looks really unhealthy.
I noticed not that I watch his podcast consistently, but I do usually put them on and I'll catch up on some of it. I'll skip the parts I want to hear or whatever.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So, and like when there's certain people on, I like to hear what they're talking about. I just notice a difference in the way he looks, like health wise, like skin, and especially the hair. Because I just say to my head, I'm like, his hair was never white. But then I noticed his skin was just very weird looking. It wasn't like tan. It wasn't like green, but it wasn't
dark.
Grayish.
Yeah, grayish, exactly. Yeah, that's what I saw too.
I was just like, I'm like, is that me or the camera? Or I'm like, something's weird. I just said it subconsciously. I didn't say it to anybody. I just thought about it. And I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, I can't be good. And then he pulled out the show and I'm like, I wonder if that's related or not. But you know how it is with people, I feel like they all tell like half of the truth, I mean,
never know the truth either way. Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, I just don't understand why he even put himself into that position to begin with, if he even knew like what is there to gain from that?
I think people think that their kidney values will just improve and stay improved. So they do improve sometimes because you've been putting a lot of pressure on your kidney and you stop. And so the kidney can function better. I think he thought it would be fine and it just kept getting worse. Maybe I really do think so, because if his kidneys were as bad as he was saying originally, then if he went into a competition, he would slowly see his kidneys fail. Right.
I wonder what signs I wonder if he just got blood work and saw it, or if there was some signs of things that he maybe was scared of.
Probably pain or blood work. Yeah, probably that's all.
You think pain?
So the other thing I was going to ask you about is last week you asked me some questions about supplements.
Yeah.
So you're interested. So what I was thinking, it could be cool on the show if you keep us updated every week when you get new things, if you try them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ordered anything yet?
I ordered them, but I didn't get them yet.
Great.
Because I didn't order them the day you told me to, obviously, because I'm an idiot. But yeah, I just want to kind of, I want to, I have like where I'm at now, obviously, blood work wise. So I want to see what I could, improve better. See what if I actually feel, because I've been stable at this, I guess you could say, the way I feel health wise, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to see if there's any improvement if I kind of take it to the next level with things. I never really took it to the next level with health subs. I took them for precautionary reasons, but I never like went to the level you went to. Obviously that's that's like IFBB vitamin level, supplement level. So I figure, hey, you know what? Let me try improving some things and see if there's any benefit to it, or if I feel a difference, or on paper, let's see if there's a difference,
Did you see the trend supplement that I said this is like trend for advanced?
Yes, I saw that.
All right.
That was pretty funny, actually.
Another new thing in the last week is that I had my first liver cancer interview. So I told you before that there's a guy who follows my channel who has liver cancer from using steroids.
Oh, geez.
Well, apparently there's a second gentleman.
Is that the guy that did the trend?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that guy's from Europe, but there's apparently a second European steroid user with liver cancer watching my channel.
Oh, wow.
So this second gentleman agreed to be on the podcast. In fact, he suggested it. So I interviewed him last week, and it was a very interesting podcast. I think it'll come out next week.
How did the first one go?
Well, this was the first. I didn't interview the first guy.
Oh, okay.
It went very, very well. I mean,
what did you learn from him?
So in the first guy's case, he used no orals, just injectables, and he used tren for about 5 years straight, and then got the cancer. The second guy actually used anabolics for 8 years straight, but used orals for the whole 8 years, and got liver cancer.
What?
He would use like 20 to 40 milligrams of dianabol every day or something like that. Like not huge amounts, but he used a little bit all the time. So he got liver cancer.
Did you ask them who instructed them to do that, or was that just their own research that they figured?
Actually, the funny thing is both of them are very involved in fitness, and like the second guy I'm talking about, he's a coach. The first guy is also very educated, and the first guy intentionally never used orals to avoid getting liver issues. Right. But the sad thing is that the liver cancer, unfortunately, basically the expectation to live when you present with it is less than a year.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's the third most deadly cancer. And like colon cancer, they consider it deadly once it's spread to the liver. So once the liver gets hit.
When were they
both within the last, I think, 6 months or so.
So they're gonna pass away from this. There's
a strong likelihood both will die this year, or not this year, but in the next calendar year.
Holy fuck! How old are these individuals?
So this guy's 30. The other guy, I think he's 34 or so. Basically our age.
Wow, that just blew my mind. Do they look good at least?
That's the shocking thing. So the first guy.
There's probably a ceiling effect.
First guy started getting skinnier. I've seen on his Instagram. I think intentionally because he's trying to be very careful. He's doing everything he can. The second guy actually who I did the video with is still very muscular. In fact, in the video, I tell him, you said you're only taking 250 milligrams, but your shoulders are very round. And he was kind of laughing. I know. He said, clearly.
God damn, God. These guys are like, that's like another level of like sickness, no? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean it's very scary.
Didn't they think at like after year 2 or 3 of doing that straight, they thought there was something wrong with it? Like, did anyone?
Well, the oral's different, but most people have taken injectables for years straight and didn't think, Like I was talking to.
But like one compound though.
No, I don't think he was using maybe tren straight the whole time, but he was using tren a lot of the time. It wasn't something weird, crazy, And he had a great body too. He had a great body, that guy. Really.
Damn, that is. Why did Boston do that too?
No, Boston, I was talking to him the other day and he was like, he gets nauseous all the time. We were talking about blood pressure medications. I was trying to convince Boston to go on a blood pressure medication. He's like, I just get nauseous. I think it's my blood pressure. I said, it's not your blood pressure. You have a liver problem. If you're nauseous, it's your liver. He said, maybe it's my kidneys. I said, yeah, it could be your kidneys, but it's definitely your liver or your kidneys. And he feels that nausea. Okay, that could be liver cancer straight up, but he's not getting it scanned or anything like that. I had that too. I had nausea sometimes. I used to get nauseous or sleepy.
What was your issue?
I don't know what it was in the end. It could have been liver inflammation or something like that. But
is he still pushing things though? I thought he stopped. Yeah.
No, he's not pushing things, but he's not. You know what? He doesn't do any of the good parts. He's just not pushing.
He not texted me. I think he texted me. Was it text or DM? Anyway, like maybe 2 weeks ago, and he said he wants to get back into it October 1st. That's what he told me.
Yeah, so he's planning to do he's planning to do a competition in about a year, but he keeps delaying this return.
And I was like, what are you doing that for, dude? I'm like, just chill. And he's like, no, I need to do it again. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, dude, just be careful. What the fuck are you doing? You got kids now. I
think it would be great for his business. But what would be great is if Boston didn't run the gear when he's not competing. Like there's
no point in taking that stuff when he's not doing anything.
Exactly.
Where is he at right now then? He's just chilling?
Yeah, he's just relaxing. He seems to live like a very enjoyable life. Like he's very worry free. He has little fun Jackson.
There's not much going on like as far as like stress goes or like I don't think he like worries about anything, to be honest with you.
No, he's
like that's one thing. But he won't get blood work done and check out his body, his organs and shit?
His blood work is horrible, apparently. But he's hinted to me like some numbers, but the blood pressure is just off the charts.
Wait, his blood pressure is that bad?
Apparently it's better now, but at one point it was like 180 over something consistently for very long periods of time.
God, dude.
The other thing we were going to talk about is we were texting the other day about supplements, and I was telling you about this Bang energy drink.
Yes.
So I watched you watched it too, right?
Yeah, that guy is nuts. Oh my God, Jack, whatever his name is, he's so fucking crazy, that guy.
So Kenny Keogh always makes videos on him.
Yeah, he's actually a really nice guy if you meet him in person, but he's obviously weird. I mean, that's a given fact. I mean, just look, you just look at the videos he do. They're very creepy, you know. But to be honest, like if you meet him in person, you'd be like, oh, that's a nice old guy, you know. Like he's just, you know. He's just like very caught up in the scene, you know, still, you know, but he's very successful. You can't fucking knock the guy.
He's religious too.
Is he?
Yeah, apparently he's religious. That's what he was saying on Dave's show.
I was skipping through it. I watched most of it, but I didn't like, you know, well, I don't know. What was the point of the interview? Just to get to know him?
Just to get to know his story that he started this Bang energy. I didn't know it was that successful. I had never heard of Bang outside of the fitness industry.
Well, that's one thing I can't. That's what I was telling you that day when we were talking about it. I'm like, I don't know if I can validate $1 billion because to me, Monster obviously is $1 billion, probably more. Who knows what Monster Energy is? But I don't see Bang drinks in convenience stores. I mean, at least over here in New York, New Jersey, I don't.
No, I've never seen them before either.
Right. So I don't know, but they do pay some of these girls and guys like stupid money when they were, let me say that, to do these stupid ad campaigns that they did with them. But I don't know if they're still doing that as far as how much money they're offering people, because obviously it's different now. But I know a few years back they were throwing like some serious money at people, but now with social media, it's probably way different. But I don't know. He has some UFC fighters like Kobe Covington and stuff that endorse it. Someone else does too. But I don't know if he pays them or how much, or if it's like a coupon code or like a flat, you know. But I don't think it's $1 billion, man. That's like,
I didn't hear him say $1 billion. I heard him say 100 million revenue.
Oh, he said somewhere else on it. It was $1 billion company. That's why I was going by it. That's why I was like, I don't believe that, but 100 million I can believe. I can believe 100 million.
I was just thinking it's a wasted opportunity slightly, because these energy drinks mostly use caffeine. Usually they have some other things in them, but they don't.
Well, did you see the claims he makes?
No.
Oh my God. bro.
More than give you wings?
Go read some of the claims that he makes. He claims that like this one builds muscle, this one burns fat, this one's got creatine in it, this one's got, oh dude, it's like, you're like, what the fuck? And then like you look at the ingredients, you're like, oh my God, dude. It's like cell tech from like back in the day type of like, you know, trying to prove like it does all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, just an energy drink at the end of the day, you know?
But there's definitely some opportunity to make like a nootropics kind of drink.
Yeah, I think nootropics are like, they're hot now, right? What do you think?
Yeah, very much. There's a lot of opportunity, and I think whenever I see nootropics formulations, I'm never that impressed. Sometimes I see a few phytochemicals or herbs that are useful together, but they're never very exhaustive or complete. And in addition to that, they always miss out on some chemicals or molecules that are not patented and not illegal, sort of like the gray area in the research chemical space. Like I was talking to you about one the other day. I think I may have mentioned it on when you were asking about supplements for thinking.
Which one?
There's something called, well, probably I shouldn't mention what it's called on the podcast in case we do it. But basically, there's this phytochemical that it's from a plant that directly agonizes a receptor in the brain that is agonized by a growth factor called brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
Yeah, you told me about that one.
Yeah, so basically, brain-derived neurotrophic factor grows new neurons in your brain. And when you do that, you preserve your brain from getting Alzheimer's, dementia, all those other kind of things. And also, you tend to create an antidepressant effect. So this is a phytochemical. It's being sold by like Nootropics Depot in the US.
Yeah.
Way higher prices than you can get it from in China.
Right.
So I was thinking like for myself and for clients, I have to order it from China.
Right.
But I want to test the product that I'm ordering from China, which I'm ordering by the kilo, right?
Right.
I want to test it to see how pure it is. But if I do that, I was thinking I should just make it as a supplement and sell it for other people because other people need it also.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
I mean, but there's definitely a lot of demand.
Yeah, there's people get the whole China thing. People get all like, oh, you're buying China. Like, I'm like, who else makes it then? Like, tell me someone. China makes fucking everything, you know? Like, there really is no other place to source this stuff like people think there is. Like, if you're not in the industry, I don't think people realize, but China's not bad. I mean, everyone claims that China's just so terrible to like buy anything from, but if you buy it from obviously registered facilities and you're buying it from a great place, not just like some underground shithole, that's a different story. Like China's regulated to do all that stuff. So there's no reason to buy, you know, garbage supplements from them. You can obviously but there's plenty of great supplement, you know, manufacturers there that you can buy products from, you know. I
mean, the only choice you really have is China or Southeast Asia or South Asia a little bit, but basically it's China. You don't really have a choice. It's not. Yeah.
Pakistan is like getting kind of popular now, but China's still like, you know, and India is somewhat popular, but China's regulated. You can do it like they're very strict on it now. That's why a lot of places got shut down this past year because they went through and anyone that wasn't a regulated facility got shut down, like wasn't a professional place, you know? So a lot of raw places got shut down, but now it's more strict than ever, honestly, after COVID. Forget about it. Like there's no bullshit going on over there, you know?
Well, that's not the only way it works. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're manufacturing something in a less professional pharmaceutical place, there'll be inconsistencies in the molecule that's.
Oh yeah.
There'll be small inconsistencies. So for example, if you get Adderall from the brand name Adderall in the US, you get a different consistency of the molecule than if you get it generic.
Oh yeah. It's so funny you brought that up. Did I bring that up to you?
No.
Oh, I didn't bring that up to you last week?
Yeah, it's true.
Because I got, you know, I have a script for Adderall and so does my lady. And we both, there's the pink ones that come in that are, I think those might be the name.
Do you know the company?
I'll have to look. So anyway, so there's pink circles that are flat. Then there's oval orange ones and there's circle orange ones. So what I noticed was my anxiety with the orange ones was terrible. I mean, like if I took a quarter like I normally do, because I only take like quarters at a time, I don't take a whole 30 milligrams, I would die. But I noticed the anxiety is just, I almost get worse taking the Adderall. I think I told you about this. Didn't I tell you a little bit?
You didn't, but this is true.
Yeah, and then the pink ones, I feel amazing. I'm calm. I'm almost falling asleep calm.
You want me to tell you why?
What is it?
So what's the reason? So Adderall is actually it's not so straightforward, but it's about 75% one molecule and 25% another molecule. Both of the molecules are actually the same molecule. They're called amphetamine, but there's two symmetrical opposites of it. One is called levoamphetamine and one is called dextroamphetamine. Adderall is 75% dextroamphetamine and 25% levoamphetamine. These things are called isomers. They're symmetrical opposites of the same molecule. They have different affinities for receptors. They're not the same. So when you get a generic one, and it's not exactly 75%, if it's like 60%, you're going to get more anxious because levoamphetamine causes more adrenaline effects than dopamine effects. So that's the reason why you would. So if you want to solve this, by the way, and not pay for the brand name one, the way to do it is to get a prescription for dextroamphetamine. You just get a prescription for straight dextroamphetamine, and you get 100% dextroamphetamine generic, and you won't feel any anxiety from that compared to levoamphetamine.
I want to talk about this after this. This is good. Because I try to hunt down the right pharmacy over here to get the ones I want, but they never have the pink ones anymore. I think those are the brand name ones. I think the orange ones are the shitty ones, but I might have it backwards. But anyway, the pink ones are the ones that don't give me any problems or my lady. So like, we're always like, I like shop. I mean, I go to every pharmacy before I pick them up. And lately, all it's been is those orange ones. So I think those are the generic ones if I'm not mistaken. But bro, when I'm telling you, it is night and day difference. Like, I mean, like you'd have a heart attack on these almost if you took a whole one, you know, like it's bad.
Exactly what you mean. By the way, there are some things you can take with Adderall to make sure you don't get any anxiety, just so you know, that are not addictive like benzos. Just so you know.
I was going to say, I can't go to benzos again. No,
not benzos. There's, for example, you can take sodium valproate, which I think I may have mentioned to you on the email. I don't know if
that might have been in the email. There's a couple things on there.
You can combine it with a few things that can reduce the anxiety without agonizing the GABA A receptors like benzos. But the point is, yeah, you see, like these are American pharmaceutical companies.
Happens with a lot of drugs, though.
Yeah, and
I didn't even notice with my Lexapro too, though. Even my Lexapro, my SSRI ones, if I don't get the name brand ones, the generics for me are just, they make me so down, dude. It's almost like I got tranquilized with something. It's weird. So I always have to stay with the pharmaceutical one, not the generics either.
So this just shows you, like, when people say China stuff is not so good, what we're really talking about is just small differences. These are American pharmaceutical companies making.
Yeah, it's all American. Yeah.
So if you have a small mistake in a product you're formulating, it'll be a bit weaker or have a bit more side effects or whatever. But at the end of the day, we're stuck with China either way.
Yeah, we are stuck with China.
By the way, we didn't talk about one other thing, which is the debate. There was another debate.
Oh, the vice man, that was good. I'm not gonna lie, it was much easier to watch. That's for sure. What did you think off of the top of your, from a non-biased point of view? If you weren't Republican or Democratic, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought both of them did better than both of the people did in the first one. Yeah. I thought Pence was a very good speaker.
Yeah, actually, I was very impressed with how calm, collective. I could tell Kamala Harris was getting very flustered. I mean, that was kind of obvious, right? She had definitely like a snarky attitude to her sometimes. She had
this smiling attitude where she smiles and then she hates you. But she
has like this wise ass like remark back, and I'm like. For everyone that's like mad at Donald Trump, I'm like, the stuff that's coming out of her mouth is way more snarky and like, condescending than what Trump just insults you. He just like, no, Joe, you're don't use the word smart. Like she's like, oh yeah, Mike Pence. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It was like almost like a housewives like chick yelling. I don't know. I think Mike Pence defended himself very well. I think he stood up for everything that the Republican Party had to stand up for. I don't think he played into her trap with anything. I liked how he answered the questions he wanted to answer. He told, the moderator numerous times, like, I'm not going to answer your question, but I'm going to answer the last one first. And then if I have time.
Yeah.
I didn't like how some of the reporters that were probably, pro-Democratic saying that he was rude to women. And I'm like, listen, if a woman puts herself in that seat to be, you know, a vice president or whatever, a moderator, they're going to get treated if it's a unisex position. Like, it doesn't matter if he wasn't insulting women. He was just trying to defend what he stands up for and his point of view on things. And he wasn't like, if that was a guy, he would have done the same thing to them. So I hate when they play that card that it's like he's like being, you know, anti-feminist and all this other crap. And I was just like, that's not political stuff. That has nothing to do with this, you know?
I felt like she actually did better than like she basically, I felt like she did a bad job presenting her image. She came off as very unlikable.
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
Basically, nobody in the world, people, human beings are intelligent. They can tell if a interpersonal interaction is happy for both parties or not. So
genuine, right?
When it's clearly not a happy encounter and one person is smiling wildly, you feel like the person is either crazy or very rude. So Kamala Harris was just smiling, and I feel like, so Tim Pool, who's a guy who reviews these things on YouTube, he's the guy who went on Joe Rogan and talked to the Twitter CEO. So Tim Pool was commenting on this, and I was surprised somebody else noticed it other than me, which is that she was smiling wildly while really angry.
Yeah.
And who's training these female politicians to smile whenever they're confronted? Like Hillary Clinton was doing it. She's doing it too. Nobody likes that.
That's a good point, though. Hillary did do that all the time. That's weird that you say that.
I don't know why you would smile if you're being attacked. Nobody like the audience looks at it and it just looks bitchy. It doesn't come off as being. Yeah,
she every comment that was, in rebuttal to whatever Mike Pence said was her giggling and be like, no. And then this is and then I'm like, whoa, like what?
Exactly.
How about and everyone was knocking Mike Pence for interrupting, but meanwhile she's being so snarky and rude and giggling while being defensive. It was like almost some sick psychological shit almost, dude. It was weird.
It was pretty entertaining. It's a pretty entertaining presidential debate so far. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Are they doing the one this week, the 15th? Is that?
I don't know anymore. Both people.
I saw Trump say he's negative yesterday. So, I mean, I hope they do it. They should.
One final thing is that there seems to have been a Chinese agent in the debate. This fly suddenly appeared on Pence's
I saw that.
At just the wrong moment when Pence was about to do like a great speech. This fly just landed there.
I was like, why is that happening? I got so mad.
I was thinking originally, I was like, Pence, he seems so calm, but he's speaking so well. So I thought maybe this guy has an earpiece too, like Biden did. But then the fly arrived there and he never did anything. It took like 10 minutes. So I was like, he can't have an earpiece.
He didn't even flick at it or anything.
He was just like, sit there. I'm not going to attack it.
I kept saying to myself, why is he not swatting it off? Does he not care? He must have known it was there, though. You feel that shit.
It must have been a fear of being attacked for being like anti-insects or anti-animal rights. I was thinking that.
Animal cruelty.
Yeah, I was thinking that. It must be something,
That's the Democrats would have jumped down his throat for that one. Oh my God, that's funny as hell.
Before we close off this week, by the way, this week you sent me, so for everyone who's watching this,
there's a lot of questions.
Nick and I asked questions on Instagram. This week we only asked on Nick's one because he gets way more questions than me. This week, Nick, you got asked a question 15 times by one guy. So half of the questions are by one guy.
Bro, I tell them all the time, I'm like, listen, you can ask questions, guys, but I'm not going to pick them if you ask like 30 questions. And like I tell them all the time, don't do that. Because then because eventually the thing blocks any more coming in. So then that jerk off, excuse me, but like he blocks anyone else answering a question. So then it kind of screws everyone else's chances. So I always tell them like maybe one or two, not 10, 15.
Exactly.
And they're dumb questions. They're not even good. So
these questions were very good, but there were just so many of them.
Well, he had a couple good ones, and then he started being like weird, asking like just random shit, and I'm like, okay.
5 questions about the ketogenic diet. I noticed.
It's like keto diet.
Like, are you real keto or Dave Palumbo keto?
Why does everybody say that? Is it Dave Palumbo keto? I'm like, oh. Does he have his own?
I got to say something for the audience. The ketogenic diet was invented at Johns Hopkins University in the 1930s. It has nothing to do with Dave Palumbo or anyone in bodybuilding. Epileptics, they have GABA problems, they have seizures. So it's
Yeah.
not a bodybuilding.
Dave Palumbo did not make that. Yeah.
I think what they mean is like a diet that's higher in protein, right? Where you're not in ketosis.
Is that what he does though?
I think that's what they mean. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what he did that was so special to it. I thought they were like literally saying that he made keto diet.
No, they mean that he's eating like a high protein diet with low carbs, basically.
Oh, okay. Okay. So he doesn't do a true keto? That's weird. Okay.
No, he basically does it for bodybuilders. So it's not a real ketogenic diet. So are you actually in a real ketogenic diet, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. You know what I found out recently that I didn't realize?
In the beginning, like the first month or so, I had to taper into it because my stomach was just not happy with it. And then once my digestive system kind of acclimated to it, then I was fine. But I haven't got out of it since I've been in that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the beta hydroxybutyrate, which is one of the main molecules that is higher in ketogenic people, beta hydroxybutyrate turns out to be, I found out this week, is an HDAC inhibitor. HDAC is histone deacetylase, which basically beta hydroxybutyrate limits the amount that your body can adapt epigenetically to your environment, which is useful for cancers, things like that. So apparently ketogenic diets are helpful for cancers, potentially more than just the lack of sugar, but also the epigenetic effect.
That's interesting.
So Melvin asked, what happened to the podcast with Santi? He loves hearing you guys.
Nothing. He's actually just talking to Santi before I talk to you. We're restarting on Thursday. He just had, his birthday. He just got done competing. He went on vacation, and we're going to start again on Thursday and be back to normal. And back every week again. So that's nothing to worry about there.
So someone, Kyle asked, for a power lifter, what's the best stack and or product for pure strength? So I think this is a cool question. And I think both of us can answer this. But
yeah
I have some views on this, being that I was an arm wrestler and I was weightlifting for a long time. So basically what happens with PEDs is usually they do a bit of both, but they either help you get stronger in the long term. So where you can gain more muscle in the long term, you can recover better, so on. Like maybe DECA would do that for you if you're a power lifter. Or they have an immediate impact on how your nerves fire throughout the body to make you immediately stronger. Like halotestin does that. Yeah. Generally, if you're trying to get stronger in the long term, you don't use things like halotestin all year round. Because if you do, you won't. Other than halotestin, you'll die of liver failure. But other than that, the halotestin will also put you so much on edge that you won't recover well. You'll always be on edge. Like if you're on trembling all the time, you won't grow well. Yeah, you're on a high dose trembling.
That's a very good point. Yes.
You know what I
mean? I think. I mean, it's factual that anything that kind of androgenic anabolic is going to build muscle, which is going to increase strength, right? I mean, you can't really, they come together. You can't do one without the other. You got to get bigger muscles. You got to get stronger. So that's cool. I think basic things. I mean, obviously testosterone's a given. I think DECA is definitely very important to have in there for tendon ligament strength. Like you said, recovery. I love primobolan, whether you're a bodybuilder or endurance athlete, power lifter. I think as far as explosiveness, output, strength, I don't see anything that could honestly replace that drug. If you have real primobolan, I think, real primobolan, I think is very impressive. Like when I was coming up and, through high school and college, a lot of athletes use primobolan, like a lot of them. Winstrol and primobolan were like their go-tos for some reason. And then I noticed that Winstrol definitely helped for me. That was the first drug I ever used. Help improve my speed, agility, performance as far as like track and field goes, basketball goes. My output as far as like athletic ability improve. I wasn't really worried about building muscle, but definitely improving, strength and build, my agility, all that. Cause it's, it's performance based basically. Obviously my joints didn't feel even that good when I was young, but I did notice definitely an increase in performance. I mean, I think fast twitch muscle fiber type of sports like that are really good for those.
Well, let's put it this way: what's the quickest increase in performance you can get from a PED? The quickest one is probably, I mean, that's the most potent, quick one. Probably halotestin, right?
Yeah, I would say probably halo.
After halotestin, it's probably anadrol or trenbolone.
Yeah.
The problem is trenbolone will immediately make you have issues with breathing, so you can't.
Yeah, it what constricts the blood vessels, right? Or
I don't know what it does exactly. It's very confusing, but definitely if you're like an arm wrestler, you can't use it. You immediately will just get more tired.
Because isn't that what the cough is from too? Doesn't it? It constrict something with the respiratory system or some shit.
No one knows what the cough is. Some people think that it's the trenbolone getting in the bloodstream. Some people think it's somehow getting in the lungs.
Right.
I've never had the cough, which is really weird.
Yeah. I think it really depends on too the quality of the tren, right? How it's made.
I've had some in the Middle East that was very potent, and I've clearly hit some kind of vein or something, and I should have coughed, but I've never had it. I'm very resilient with coughing, though.
you didn't get like a little shortness of breath.
Not in that, but never a cough.
Never a cough. The cough is. I tried to tell people too, for some reason, maybe it was just me, maybe it was just a coincidence, but I noticed that the rate at which I pushed that plunger into my body made a big difference as far as absorbing the tren goes. So if it would say it was 1 cc, I would push that plunger in like, wait a second, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't just go and plow that shit into my body. For some reason that caused me to cough like instantly. I don't know if it was a jolt from the acidity or whatever the tren compound, but I noticed if I put it in much slower, I didn't have that problem as much. Also, and where I shot it too was weird. I don't know. It was weird. In certain body parts, I literally would cough every fucking time. And then if I would shoot it like my glutes, if I put in my glutes, it was like it was coughing attack no matter what. But if I shot my delts or lats for some reason, no problem. Never had a problem there for some reason. I have no idea why. I don't know if it's maybe nerves or I was hitting scar tissue or blood vessels or it's very weird, dude. That's a weird fucking drug. Very weird drug.
By the way, talking about injections, so I noticed that James Hollingshead at the competition you were talking about someone having smaller arms and chest, but I felt like James's arms were stuck too small for him. He has like 18 or 19 inch arms.
So I've seen his photos competing, but I never really watched his performance on stage on a video. I just seen photos of him. I didn't realize how long his torso was and how short his quads are, and his calves are long. So like his quads are like these little like turkey sausage, and then like his torso is very long, and his lats there's no pop to the lats in the front double bicep, and then his arms are not big. They're like little T-Rex, little short. Yeah. Right? Like it doesn't
doesn't match. And the back also doesn't match. So the arms in the back actually
and he's not wide either. So like when he hits his rear double bicep, there's no teres muscles popping out or anything.
Yeah.
It's weird.
A lot with what he's got though.
He's got a lot of muscle though on his frame, but you're right though. His arms are definitely lagging for sure. Because he's so thick everywhere.
They're really small. I was surprised. I think it was him that I was.
Yeah, no, he does. He has very small arms. He always knocks his own arms too. He says his arms are small.
He's a nice guy though. I saw him on Fuad's podcast. He's a really nice guy.
He seems like, I never met him in person, but he seems like a genuine dude. He's always very polite to me when we talk, but I never really met anybody that dislikes him. So, but I just, there's only so much, so far you can go with a physique like that, though. Bodybuilding. I'm not attacking him personally. I just mean bodybuilding wise.
In terms of the legs, like his knee to hip
is very short.
Very short.
If you look at the other athletes, it's like his quad's like this long, and his calves this long, and then his torso is this long. I never see someone's quad so short.
Which is interesting because his quads are his best body part. and so they're
Right.
very small. So it's
Right.
like it's an interesting situation. That's true.
Yeah, that's why his legs are probably so strong though. When he squats like stupid weight, like
Like Lee
stupid.
Priest with the curling, except Lee's are fake, but still,
Yeah.
yeah, short arms.
Oh, just want to plug this real quick. Did you see how much money he raised so
How
far?
much?
4,500, I
Oh,
think.
it's went up by only 1,000 since last week. Oh, so
Nice.
people really know about that. They know
People-
that he was fooling.
People are not happy with that. You can tell. It
Apparently,
hasn't.
Chris-
It hasn't moved in a couple of days.
Apparently, Chris Aceto was talking about it too.
Chris was. I heard Chris was pretty upset. Like he was bashing Lee, and then Dave was trying to. Dave, no offense to Dave, but Dave was pretty much backing up Lee. Like, oh, that's what I. Then he compared him to Jay Cutler. He goes, well, if Jay Cutler needed money, why would it be weird if he asked for money to compete? And Chris is like, no, like you just don't.
That's the worst example.
Yeah, you don't ask to compete, ask money to compete in bodybuilding show, Dave. Like you just do it, like you have a job or whatever, no one gives a fuck that much. That's weird.
I saw that too. I was saying that Dave didn't support him, but you're right. Yeah, he did.
Dave was like, I don't know if Dave feels like.
I think Dave is just trying to think the best of him. I think Dave.
That's what I'm saying. I think he feels bad, almost like saying, my friend Lee is an idiot.
I think Lee was trying to sell something. Oh, no. It was a joke. It was something else. But anyway, the point is, I feel like Lee's in a bad position financially. I think that's what.
He has to be, right? He has to be. You don't do that unless you're in a good position.
Which is weird. You think you wouldn't be in such a bad position if you're Lee Priest, because you could train people.
Let me ask you, is he married? He has a daughter, right?
He has a daughter. That's true.
Is he married?
No, I don't think so.
But she's older, though. She's like in her 20s, right? She's an adult.
No, he's married. I think he is married to a new lady, and his daughter's an adult. Yeah.
So, all right. So we don't know much about his personal life then. So we don't know his living situation. I was wondering, someone said he lived with his mom, and I'm like, no fucking way he lives with his mom. There's no way.
No, I don't think so. He's
right?
an interesting character, though.
I still like him. I'll still rip on him because I think it's funny, but I just thought it was a low blow asking for money, though. I did. I think that, and you can still like the person. I don't care. I'm not going to hold him.
I can't get over the fact that he tricked Nick Strength and Power to post a video about
Bro,
it.
I still laugh about it this day that Nick actually made a video about it saying that he got duped. He's like, yeah, here's the DMs. It's like he's so upset. He thought Lee Priest was his friend.
Exactly, yeah. It was like his child. He looked up to him. Like, trick me. You don't care about me.
It was so depressing. I was like, oh, kids probably can't lose its sleep overnight over this.
So there's a guy called Wiggs. He says, do you ever think Sarms will surpass steroids in bodybuilding?
Oh, probably not. No. I mean, I think what's going to happen, let's say I think we talked about this the other day privately, but I think over the next I don't think it's going to happen within the next year because of COVID and stuff, but eventually they're going to probably put some type of legality on SARMs, and then whether they do it to all SARMs, because right now they tried to pass a legislation law, but it got turned down immediately. But for SARMs, but it's not for everything. It's only for 2 of them, I think, or 3. So whether the FDA takes over them and makes them prescription only, or some survive, some don't, or they ban all of them. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not writing the law, but I think, between me and you, there's a lot of other things coming out that are probably going to be just as, if not as good as SARMs, right? So I think it's always going to be evolving, but SARMs will probably just be another thing like pro hormones and whatever else. I think it's just going to keep cycling, and there's always going to be something new coming out, especially in this industry. But steroids are steroids, man. They're going to be around. They're going to be for the hardcore people. But I think for the general public, I think, these natural derivatives for test boosters, like these DHEA products, are getting very popular, and they work. They definitely work. And not everyone wants to use steroids, man. I mean, you don't have to go down that road anymore. And that's why I try to tell people this is it's not that I'm going to sit here and tell you 100% you're not going to have health precautions because you use a SARM or a pro hormone. I'm telling you that, yes, there is definitely statistically a safer route than using steroids all the time, and that's all people have to understand. It's just another way of doing it without having to go down that road. And not everyone has access to steroids. Let's be honest. Not everyone has a drug dealer to go call. So, you know, if you can help someone out with these that want to put on muscle, I think it's so silly that they even try to regulate any of it, to be honest, because there's so many supplements out there that are on the retail market that are far more dangerous than a SARM. You know, if someone doesn't know how to use them or use them properly, and that's the only thing about the, you know, the supplement industry. It's all ass backwards, if you ask me. But, you know.
Well, there's a few things we can mention. One of the things is, I feel like SARMs, the way people should think of SARMs is the way people think of equipoise or DECA or stuff like that. All of those things are technically somehow SARMs.
Oh yeah. I mean, SARM is pretty much a steroid, right?
Yeah, it's basically a steroid that's not testosterone. Some way, some modification. In some way, it does something else, and it's a little bit less harsh in some way, and has some other benefits in some way. So all of them have those kind of effects.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not like, if you think about it technically, testosterone is not better than all the other varieties. Like, testosterone is not better than Trenbolone in all scenarios and stuff like that. So it's not like they're all weaker and a bit healthier. They're all different.
Yeah.
But there's always some value in using different ones. Like, for example, you were talking a little while ago about Primobolan.
Yeah.
Primo produces more erythropoiesis, which means more red blood cell creation in the body, than testosterone, but less than equipoise, for example. So all these different ones have different effects, and that's not by the androgen receptor, by the way. So it's not by the androgen receptor that does it. So some of these things agonize the estrogen receptor, some agonize the progesterone receptor, the glucocorticoid receptors. I don't think they're very well understood.
No, and that's the problem when people just use the generic word of SARMs or steroids. They don't, you know, I always yell at people for that. I'm like, there's so much more to it than just that word, you know, like, they're like, oh, I want to use a SARM cycle. I'm like, okay, but what are you trying to do? What's the goal? And what's the goal you have in mind? Are you an athlete? Are you a woman, female, male, female? How old are you? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to be stronger? Are you trying to be faster, bigger, you know, because they all work. They're all mechanically different in some way. And people have to understand that. And I tell people, like, just because the word SARM is attached to them, like it's like equipoise doesn't have the word steroid on it. You know what I mean? So like, I always try to tell them, remove that word and just look at what it does and the chemical it is, you know, more so than anything. But obviously we have to categorize them with the word SARM, but like, do I always say SARM family? I say that a lot, like SARM family. Like, people think they could, the biggest question I get, dude, is, can I use this with PEDs? Can I use this with I'm like, it is that, you know what I mean? it is that, you know? So.
And also there's a lot more potential to create new ones, not specifically SARMs, but things that can cause growth in people.
Oh yeah.
For example, erythropoietin affects this pathway called the JAK-STAT pathway. The JAK-STAT pathway is a growth pathway in the body, like similar to how IGF-1 is a growth pathway. And there are other molecules that target that pathway also, that you could, for example, Nick could produce in China. Yeah, similar to EPO, that would have that would not increase red blood cells, but would still cause growth in the body. Yeah. Like, for example, what else targets that pathway? BP157.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah.
BP500. So there are so many other molecules that can target different growth pathways, actually.
Yeah. And just like GW with the delta agonist, the same, you know, very, very similar like that too.
Although that, I would have never expected that would cause so much endurance. That was probably a surprise.
Honestly, I underestimated how strong that thing is.
Yeah. Well, if you were researching it in a lab, you wouldn't have thought that it would cause.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that point of view. Yeah, no way. No, definitely not. No way. So I don't think they even thought that.
The guy that asked you 15 questions, he asked you a funny question. He said, do you know what happened to Mike from the research station? Is he in jail or dead?
Oh, geez.
Who is Mike from there? Is he the guy that went on Fuad's show once? And
yes. So no, he absolutely you don't remember that whole battle with him I had?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God. So I called around that time. I wasn't beefing with him. I just kind of tagged. I think someone in one of my stories asked if he was like credible or something. And I was like, I insulted him somehow. I was like, he's as credible as like a hamster or something. I said something like fucked up. And but I know I never met the guy. I don't know who he is. I actually had multiple conversations with him because I found out that, oh man, this could get me in a lot of trouble. But Matt Jensen was paying the man for help. Okay. And then supposedly Steve Kuklo hired him to help him with his drugs. And I hit up Kuklo and I was like, why the fuck are you talking to this man? You know, and he denied it and he said he wasn't, but I saw the text messages and DMs from Mike, from that guy, Mike, send them to me. But between me and you, I don't want to air out his business because I really don't do that to people anymore. I feel bad. He got into some type of trouble. I'll tell you off camera. And he's not in a good position. That's all I know. So he's not dead, but he's not in exactly the most, I would say, ideal situation. So, but if you Google his name, though, you'll find everything on him. You know, it's just.
So I heard what he said originally, and I found it interesting because, you know, I've probably
he wasn't stupid though.
No,
he
it's
just
not
wasn't
stupid. It's just the idea is this, right? Whenever you see somebody come into so he doesn't know something we don't know, right? Everybody who's used steroids enough has used them himself. If you've coached other people, you've watched what other people have done, and then you read the research papers, right? There's not much more you can do. There's no secret book that he has access to.
Absolutely.
So when someone comes from that perspective and has very dogmatic views, like this is the right way, I know the right way, this is how you do it. When someone talks like that, instead of being like, I think this is what works best in my experience.
And that's what bothered me the most.
Exactly. When someone comes with that perspective, you're like, okay, this is a clown. He's a guy trying to get attention. He's trying to.
And he was doing that to dude. What bothered me the most was there's so many innocent kids. And listen, I'm not like some heartfelt dude, but I really felt bad for a lot of these kids that joined his WhatsApp group. And he had he had a lot of kids that he was influencing on these WhatsApp groups. And all it was the penny push, everything else that he was doing. And the advice he was giving these kids, man, was, oh man, I'd probably trust one of our girlfriends more than him because the information was just so off. And I'm like, and I'll literally all day long, I would just get questions from him, like from kids that, hey, Mike said this. And I'm like, no, like that's all it was. So he was hitting, you know, and he had like hundreds of Instagram profiles that he was like trolling people on and following people. And he had like probably a team of people doing it for him, but he was making a wave at the time. Like whatever he was doing was working is what I'm basically saying. So, and it was influencing a lot of kids. And I was like, God damn, this is not good. So that's why I made like a call out video, just like making fun of him. Just so hopefully people were like, oh shit. And then Faoud had him on. I'm like, why would you, like even John Meadows.
God stopped like trusting him after that.
John Meadows even made a video about him saying like, this guy's not credible. Be careful. Like, please, like, cause he came out of nowhere. He did. Like, it was literally just out of the blue. And all of a sudden he was like trying to help everybody with drugs and everything else. But obviously there was an ultimatum to whatever he was doing, you know? Yeah. So, but listen, I didn't know him personally. I have nothing against the guy. I could care less what he does, but I just didn't like the way he was, you know, advising people what to do. Cause that was just not good. It was not good at all for a long time too.
Actually, this fellow Andrew Mansour also had another question, which was good. He said, your thoughts on Chris Bumstead still competing for the Mr. O. Is it risky or the right move? Chris Bumstead apparently has an autoimmune disorder that.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. What is up with that?
I don't know. I don't know much about autoimmune disorders that attack kidneys. There are all kinds of autoimmune disorders. Like I have one that's a gastrointestinal thing. Apparently even vitiligo, or you know when people have their skin color changing, what Michael Jackson had, that's an autoimmune disorder. There are all kinds of autoimmune.
I think I asked you about autoimmune disease the other day, didn't I?
I don't know. I don't remember. But the point is that all kinds of autoimmune things that attack you. If the guy really has his kidneys being attacked by his body and he's using androgens and he's a high body weight, then obviously, you know, he's taking a risk with his future. But maybe he's going to get a kidney replacement when he's 40 or something and he'll be fine.
Yeah, I know his friend Matt Thompson used to be, when I was at Muscle Meds for like almost 10 years, Matt used to work at Muscle Meds and was like one of the athlete coordinators, or he was in charge of social media. So I hung out with Matt a lot. Like we were pretty close, and he helps Chris now. I think they have a podcast together too, I think.
Oh, I've seen him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty close to Matt. And when I talked to Matt last time about him, because Matt's from Jersey, and he said that Chris was getting better and blah, blah, blah. And his health is improving. He has to do like some crazy supplement protocol. He's got to like be very careful in the off season. He can't like push up his body weight. But supposedly he said he was improving, but I know how autoimmune diseases go there. It's like wavy, like you're up sometimes and you're down sometimes, you know? I asked you about Epstein-Barr. That's what I asked you about.
Oh yeah.
Because one of my close friends just got diagnosed with it and he's like a fucking mess, but
Does he know how he got it?
he thinks from stress
Oh, interesting.
and like, and pushing the envelope with, you know, from both ends of the candlestick, like steroids and party drugs and not sleeping. And I think he feels that's what it is, because if not, then, you know, it's just very weird to get it at like the age 36 years old, you know, like what could that be from that, you think, or no?
I don't know much about it, to be honest. But
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
This way, like type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disorder in which your body attacks your pancreas so that your pancreas can. I don't know if he has something like that, but if he does, in either case, like even just lifting weights is harmful for the kidney. When you're lifting a heavy weight,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
your blood pressure raises so much that it's the acute blood pressure actually kills cells of the kidney. Every time someone goes and like does a 400-pound squat or something like that, they kill kidneys.
I know. It's why I tell people to take. I had that post that one day. You liked it. The health. Everyone using the health subs actually all year round, not just temporarily. People don't that they actually train and need them, you know. But people always use them just for like when they're on cycle. I'm like, dude, it's you're putting a Band-Aid on things, you know. It's just not helping you.
Actually, someone asked a question. I think that we'll just answer this last question. Someone asked a question about like organ damage and stuff like that, and I have here some notes I wrote down just before I spoke to the liver cancer guy last week. Okay. And I wanted to mention some things on the discussion with him, but I realized there wasn't really a good place to put it in because of the, you know, the nature of the conversation. So if someone's interested, for example, in protecting their liver from liver cancer while they're on steroids, so I just wrote a quick guide here. Yeah. I wanted to mention something. So for example, there's a biomarker called alpha fetoprotein. Someone was asking about organ damage. Yeah. So let's talk about the liver. You have alpha fetoprotein. It's usually raised in about 60% of cases with liver cancer. So you can check that year round. You can also do fMRI scans, ultrasounds on your liver. But there are other things. So for example, for the liver, it's not just supplements that can protect your liver from damage, but also, for example, choline. Choline is an essential vitamin for the liver. If you don't have it, your liver gets fatty liver. So you need to have choline. You need to reduce heavy metals at your liver. If you have iron at your liver, iron damages the liver by itself. So if you donate blood, you get rid of more iron in your body.
Do you donate blood frequently? Or
I've been trying. So this is a funny story. Recently, I've been trying to learn how to do it. But the problem is it's actually really, really hectic. People are not understanding this. If you want to donate enough blood to get rid of a lot of iron, you have to donate like a bag of blood. Right. And you have to buy these bags online. And these bags have a vacuum. So when you attach them to your blood vessel, right, they suction out some blood. But as they become full, they have less vacuum. So they suction out less blood. So you have to start like exercising your arm and like squeezing your hand. And it's too much. I'm not interested in doing that. Really, I want one of those.
That's too much. That's too much.
Yeah, it's really a lot. It's a lot of work, you know.
Do you do it frequent? Like, would you do it once a year, if that?
I was planning to do it once a month or twice a month.
Oh, wow. That much.
Yeah, because basically your body doesn't have a way to get rid of iron very well. And iron is really damaging for the liver. It causes liver disease.
I haven't donated in so long.
Oof. It causes, not causes, but it adds to Alzheimer's disease pathology. And it seems to be carcinogenic and to be what they call oncogenic, which means it can help create cancer tumor growth. Oof. So there's a lot of research into doing phlebotomies, giving up blood for normal people to prevent.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there are other things though. So I'm just going through I'm just showing you guys like the perspective, because people ask, how do you protect your organs? Well, it's not just you take supplements to reduce like oxidative stress at the liver all the time, but you also need choline, the vitamin. Then you need, for example, periods of time during your training where you're not eating, where your AMP kinase is turned on, you're in a starving state, where your body can go kill damaged cells and recycle them and so on. And there are other things you can do also, like use ACAR and metformin during those fasting times to speed up. Use rapamycin, which is that trembolone-like compound. Yeah. But this is just an example from my notes last week, but just to show you guys. And the kidney is slightly different because there are some supplements that increase kidney filtration in the short term. Right. So that's why it's slightly different. But basically, there would be a whole program, and this is why it's important to be designing your programs properly if you're like a bodybuilder. There's a whole way to approach preserving the health, I think, of an organ while you're down.
I think there's not enough focus on that. That's the problem. Everyone's just like, what do I take, for exogenous output? And they don't care about anything else, protecting themselves from all that, and they'll spend money on all that, but they won't invest $100 or $200 a month on, which is nothing on regular subs, bothers me. You have to do both.
That's one problem is costs, of course. But the other problem is this, is say you train 2 bodybuilders for competition. One of them, you make him fast every month for 4 days. You give him rapamycin when he fasts. Every week you have 1 day off food and drugs. You take care of him as healthy as you can. They both come on stage. The guy that you cared about his health, you get no credit for that at all. Nobody. Oh,
no. Yeah. No one even cares. No one even notices.
He probably doesn't even care because he didn't know that he might have gotten the disease, So there's no incentivization, I think, until clients demand it. Coaches are not really going to pay attention to it.
Yeah. Plus, these clients go from me to Joe to Bob, and everyone's got different protocols for how they take care of somebody too. They think they're healthy because they're on the right protein powders and stuff, or, my coach cares about my health so much. I'm like, oh, why? I eat so many vegetables. I'm like, okay, get the fuck out of here, dude. It's just, the coaching business I can talk about for an hour about how bad it is because there's just no consistency across the board. And these people are not educated enough, have no experience in it. And that's probably doing more damage than anything, to be honest with you.
Can I ask you something? How much do you think the highest paid coach is making? Not Greg Doucette, because that's another level but
it's funny. Did you see
the of coaches? But
did you see the comment war that went on? Is that why you brought that up?
No, I have no idea. What is this?
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Keep me updated on your comment wars on Instagram and other places.
Yeah, it was a funny one actually.
Yeah.
So somebody, and nothing to do with anything that we're talking about right now, but someone just decided to plug in out of nowhere and be like, quit being, I forget even the words he used, bro. He tried to insult me saying I'm broke and that I'm hungry for money and all this other thing. So I didn't really pay attention to it. And other people started chiming in and were defending me, which I had no idea who they were. So then I just threw it in there. I said something like, fuck, I'm trying to remember how it went. So it sounds better. I said something like, basically, I said, what would be a lot of money to you as far as what a coach makes? What's it like? Because you're criticizing, saying me, I'm not successful in coaching, but what number makes a coach successful? Basically, is what I said to him. I said 100,000, 200,000, 300. What is it? I said, if I told you I made $500,000 a year, would you believe it? And he said, no. So I said, what if I told you I made $750,000 coaching? Would you believe it? He said, no. I said, well, why not? He's like, because you're not good. And I said, well, that doesn't say anything. I'm like, anyone with great marketing and great, social media presence can make $500,000 with coaching. I mean, it's not really about the coach, right? I mean, it's really the marketing that's what sells these coaches half the time. It's not because the best coaches are making the most money. Yeah. I have some of my clients that coach, and I don't like that because usually I don't take people on that coach because I don't want them. I don't mind if they want to learn, but I hate when people steal my ways and my programs and stuff. So I don't like them when they're full-time coaches. So I kind of stay away from that. But I said to him, I said, why have I made $600,000 a year coaching? And he's like, well, that seems just crazy. You're probably ripping people off and blah, blah, blah. I said, no, I've been coaching since I was probably 23, 24 years old. So that's really not that much money after 10 years of doing it. When you think about it, that's not crazy money. So it's funny that you brought that up because people are just weird about how much money you make. Is it weird though in this sport? I know I'm rambling, but
no, it's interesting.
The sport, everyone has a weird thing about talking about money, which I don't care about.
So what do you think, other than Greg Doucette, what do you think okay, how about this? In the guys that are in their 30s, how much do you think the max someone's making is?
So I made $625 last year coaching. Okay. $625,000 coaching last year.
Without the supplement.
That's just my coaching, just literally coaching. Right. And that's to the dollar, dude. Greg, I don't believe that he has that many people, bro. Because the people I did talk to when that happened all told me they're paying $200 a month.
No, he's the Lamborghini of coaches. Come on. He has a lot of people.
There's no way. I don't think You really?
I like how he called himself a Lamborghini, though.
I didn't know he called him a Lamborghini. I thought you were saying that about him.
Oh, no. He said, if you buy a car that's a Lamborghini, you didn't watch the video with his response to you?
I didn't hear the Lamborghini part.
Okay.
I must have been blacked out at that time.
I'm pretty sure he called himself a Lamborghini. Yeah.
So, all right. So, like, let's say like somebody like AJ Sims. You know who AJ Sims is?
Yeah.
He has to make more than me. He has to. He has a lot of people. But dude, a lot of these coaches don't charge people.
Yeah, don't charge famous people, you mean, right?
They don't charge these people that they're posting. But
what about the older generation, like
Chris
and yeah.
Chad I talk to pretty much every day. He doesn't make dick on coaching because he doesn't really do it anymore. But he said he picked up like 10 people. He has like 10 people now. But he doesn't like he doesn't really do it for money, I don't think. I don't know if he needs it for monetary reasons, but Aceto, he probably makes a pretty penny. He has to. Hani Rambod doesn't really coach anymore.
I think Milos must make the most.
Milos is probably, he hustles, man. He's all over the fucking
I know.
Cormier, Cormier does more training. He does okay. He's not like, he's not like a guru coach though. That's going to do like nutrition and drugs. George Farah, I don't think he coaches anymore, does he? I don't see him coaching really much.
I think Farah does, yeah.
Fakri, me and Fakri talk every day because I do business with him. He doesn't really coach anymore. He only has like probably, I don't even know, not 200 people anymore like he used to have. But Fakri made serious money coaching.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, he made $1 million a year every year coaching. I mean, for sure. Yeah, like because he coached me for pretty much half my career.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. He started helping me when I was 18, Fakri, 19 years old. So, because he has a supplement store right by me here in Queens, and I used to go there every week just to check in with him when he used to do like coaching full time. And his door was a revolving door of people all fucking day. I mean, he was like one of the first people to like kind of offer like the online coaching, not the first, but like he was pretty like, I don't want to say he like laid the bricks for everybody, but he was pretty early when it all started to happen. I got the idea from him. That's why I started doing it. Yeah. When I started doing it at like 23, 24, when Instagram first started to happen. Because I was doing it on Facebook. That's when I remember it.
How's his health doing recently? I haven't seen an interview.
He can't fuck around anymore. He's got to be careful. He can't be on juice anymore, obviously. But he's like downsized a lot. He's just kind of like, he's doing like boxing classes. He's doing like circuit training. He still trains like a fucking maniac though, like twice a day. Like he's a bodybuilder because he's obsessed with it. But, like we were just talking about this yesterday. I had a really funny conversation I just had with him yesterday. He's like, you're gonna get older and you're gonna get smaller. He's like, some reason I worked out so hard, but I think I go backwards. He goes, I'm not getting any bigger. He's like, my muscles just don't respond like they used to, He's like, it sucks. It really does. Cause I was complaining to him the other day. I'm like, why is it so hard to like get going? Like, it's just like, it's not the same anymore, but he's like, it's the first time in your life that you'll be able to eat everything under the sun, lift, and not grow. He's like, literally, that's what happens. You don't put on any more skeletal muscle. So
our gym opened in our compound like a week ago. So I've been there a couple.
It just opened?
Yeah, this is California. Yeah.
Wow. Damn. I mean, we're only allowed like 30% or something, 25. I don't know what the fuck it is, but in the gym capacity. Is that what they're doing there or no?
10.
10?
10, yeah.
10 people or 10%?
10%.
What the fuck is that? It's like 2 people.
Anyway, I started lifting some weights. I feel it's so foreign to me, and I feel weak.
You hate it, right?
It's very confusing. My relationship with weights was different before the coronavirus.
It's very confusing.
Yeah, especially after the coronavirus. It's really.
I feel the same way. I hate it.
I feel so, honestly, I feel like this coronavirus lockdown thing damaged everyone's mental health and made everyone just, I'm not used to going out. I'm not used to lifting weights. I'm not used to anything anymore. But anyway, you were saying, Fakri is saying we get weaker as we get older. I also think I got weaker.
Yeah, I don't. Did I tell you I went last week twice and I never went again after that? I was like, I was so miserable for like 7 days straight of pain. I threw my back out really bad. Like
going to the gym after you were like strong or on steroids or big or whatever is like going to a racing lap thing with a Toyota Camry and like a broken down old Toyota Camry.
bro, beyond that, like no wheels, no battery, nothing.
Like,
I feel horrible.
Being timed. You're still being timed, and you have to do that.
Feel horrible. Let me ask you, what do you think my anxiety is so bad for after I train? Is that just from adrenaline that I'm not used to?
Right, like, right after you train, your anxiety is bad?
Whew, for a whole day, dude. Like
so a lot of things happen for a whole day.
It's bad.
So a lot of things happen right after you exercise. One of them actually is there's more.
You think it's the epinephrine or whatever, fight or flight mode?
So anxiety generally, the actual root of it is GABA.
Yeah.
So GABA is the thing that benzos affect. GABA is the actual root, but adrenaline basically causes GABA to be under to there to be less.
Press, yeah.
It wouldn't be adrenaline unless you're taking something before you work out.
Yeah, no, just
you're not taking anything.
No.
We should talk about the anxiety thing, by the way, because I've like become a master of anxiety. I have really studied this thing inside out for the last few years.
I'm a master of having it, so we could share that.
Well, that's how I became a master of it. So we could definitely solve the anxiety thing.
I thank God it's been at bay, but that was the first time I had it in like a very long time like that.
Which is interesting because you brought your SSRI dose down, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to bring it back up.
I would like not to, but
you still get anxiety.
Yeah.
Listen,
it's not. It's manageable, right? Before it was debilitating, right? So there's definitely a difference. But I have different symptoms now. Before it was very hard chest contractions, like restrictions. I couldn't breathe, shortness of breath. I mean, like literally, like you're having a heart attack. Now it's my hands shaking, my neurologically can't really like focus. Like my girlfriend asked me to like load the dishwasher. I'm like confused. I'm like, I don't even know where to start. And it's so like powerful though. Like you're really confused. You're like, what do I do? Like, you're like, you can't even focus on anything.
Does the heart rate go up?
Not much, nothing crazy. No, not really. Just, I mean, a few points, but nothing crazy. Like, I don't feel like racy or anything. I just feel very uncomfortable in my skin. I literally did a half-hour workout, dude. It was like a joke. Like,
have you ever taken a beta blocker?
No beta blockers. No.
I'd be curious to know how you would feel if you took one right after. Let's talk about this more on text. So we'll come up with some
ideas. Of course.
Yeah. Okay. So I did a good weekly session.
That was good.
Record. I guess we got to record again later this week.
Whatever you want to do.
Unless we delay it to next week. All right. I'll text you. I've got a couple of ideas for the anxiety thing we can try out.
All right. Perfect.
All right,
guys.
Good talking to you. I'll see you next week.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.